All right, so number 9, you're going to decide whether you have enough information to decide if the quadrilateral is a parallelogram. So all you have to do is just draw it based on the condition. So here we go. Opposite sides here are parallel to each other. So here we have this is parallel to that. Those are opposite. They're parallel to each other. This is opposite and parallel to each other. So the answer here would be a yes. Opposite sides are parallel to each other is enough to prove that it's a parallelogram. And next, let's draw our parallelogram. And it says the opposite sides are congruent. Well, this is congruent to this. And then this left side is congruent to this side. This is also a yes. That is the other properties. Opposite sides are congruent for a parallelogram. Next, we have two pairs of consecutive sides are congruent. Well, it's basically asking for this. Okay, we have something like this. And it says this is congruent to this. These are consecutive. And also this is also congruent to this. Another way you can see this is technically like something that looks like this. It's actually a kite. Okay. Because here the consecutives are congruent. These are actually not a parallelogram. Okay. Two pairs of consecutive angles are congruent. So we can draw something like this. And two pairs of consecutive are congruent. So our two pairs are consecutive. So something like this is congruent to this, and this is congruent to this. An easier way to look at that is actually an isosceles trapezoid. Okay, so the base angles are congruent and these are congruent. Okay, this is a trapezoid, so it's not a parallelogram. Next, the diagonals are congruent. Okay, what we know about diagonals are congruent is that enough though? So let's say the diagonals are congruent. So here we go. Right? So a lot of you might think, hey, look, this is going to be congruent to this because it is a rectangle, right? It works for a rectangle. However, watch. I can also show it with a trapezoid. A trapezoid, the diagonals are also congruent. This is also congruent to this for an isosceles trapezoid. Okay. And this makes it a knot because of the trapezoid. Doesn't matter if it works for a rectangle. I showed a counterexample in using a trapezoid, so it's not. Okay. The diagonals bisect each other. Yes, because that's actually a property of a parallelogram. This is congruent to this. And then this diagonal is congruent to this diagonal. So this is also a yes. And let's look at all four sides are congruent. Yes, this is a rhombus. Sorry, a rhombus or a square, and these are all parallelograms. And last one, the consecutive angles are supplementary. So this is like 110, this is 80. Okay. And this is also 80, and this is also 110. Okay, and that is also a parallelogram, so that is also a yes.